Hello and welcome to another episode of Underrated with me, myself, Justin Rob Doyle. Thank you so much for tuning in, which is not what you're doing. You know, you're not like tuning a dial. It's the old radio in me, I guess. You tune in on the dial. I'm not that old, Jesus. You clicked on this, you are listening to this, you're watching this maybe on YouTube. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys kind of sticking along and just riding along with me on whatever it is we're doing here. But I'm excited about this. So what we're doing today is we're talking to Brian Dashnaw, and the name of the show is Underrated. He's somebody that I graduated with. I've always kind of followed him on social media. That's just like, in this modern time of social media, when you graduate or move on from somewhere, you still kind of keep in touch loosely, vaguely. You kind of see what they're doing. You throw them a like every once in a while, a little comment if you're feeling frisky. But you always kind of get a pulse of what they're up to, what they're doing. Maybe that's the reason why you clicked on this. I don't know. That could be it. But Brian's always been somebody that we've had, similar interests. Now I've kind of seen him get into some things that I would like to get into, and we get into that in this conversation as well. It's improv. But we also kind of reminisce on high school. High school is just kind of weird. It wasn't weird in like the traditional sense of like you see in a movie, kids getting friggin' swirlied or thrown in a trash can. It wasn't that for me. I just was kind of like one of the youngest people in my class. Like I always vibed with everybody. Like I don't think I had like a clique. There wasn't like a group I was hanging out with, but I just felt like I kind of always could relate or connect with anybody. I was just like a gelatinous, which is, that's not the term I was looking for. Let's just reel that one back. I was just kind of this evergreen person that was floating through high school, just, getting by. But there were a few people that I actually connected with while I was there, and Brian's one of them. And I just couldn't believe how long it had been since I had actually spoken to him. But this conversation was awesome for me to sit down and talk to Brian and really catch up, see what he's been up to. And he's a really cool dude, and I hope you guys enjoy this conversation. So I'm just going to stop talking. I don't know why I feel the need to buffer this. I'm going to get out of the way here and just let the conversation happen. So here it is. It's my conversation with Brian Dashnaw. Why am I saluting? I don't know what that was. Sorry. Hey, Brian, what the hell, man? It's been 15 years. What have you been up to?
Yeah, whole bunch of things, got married to another mutual acquaintance of ours, and doing kinds of all types of work in marketing, do improv comedy, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. How about you, man?
Dude, I'm just hanging out, man. I'm just living life. It's there's a lot going on, and this is just another part of the things I'm doing. This podcast is just something to have fun and talk to people I like and I'm interested in and want to know more about. But that's why I'm reaching out to you. People are like, "What's going on?" It's a Lemon Bay High School reunion. I know it's literally been. People are probably like, "Man, these guys." I'm talking to you. I'm no joke when I say 15 years. It's been since graduation, I think, since we've spoken. I mean, we've had some interactions on social media. I think that's what's been interesting about our time is like we've graduated, social media is around. And it kind of like was the reason why I didn't really go to like the high school reunion. Because I'm just like, it was like the 10-year reunion. And I was like, I'm just seeing what everybody's doing already. I'm not near it. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to make the trip. It's weird. I feel like back then, it was a little more impactful because you really didn't know what was going on. But I've seen what you're going on and we're talking. And yeah, I don't know. Did you make it to the high school reunion?
I did actually, yeah. For me, it was just because my family, everybody that was kind of, around when I grew up and everything like that, like they had all moved away. So I really hadn't been even to the hometown in so long. So I was like, good to see some friends and stuff. Like it was a great time. It was fun. But yeah, I think I agree with you that I think they were definitely more important back when you literally didn't see a person for 10 years, like meanwhile I could go to any of my friends' sites, like Facebook pages or whatever, and I could see what they did yesterday.
Yeah. Like we just did this podcast. People might be watching this. Hey, guess what? I'll see you at the 50th. Yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's interesting. Exactly. No, it's not that I don't want to see the people I graduated with because obviously there's a lot of great memories, a lot of people we met and have known for a long time. It for some reason, and I don't know if this is just always going to be the case, but it just felt soon. It still felt like, you know what I mean? We all feel way younger than we are. I can't believe it's been 15 years. It's absurd. But just that feeling of like, wait, are you serious? Like, we're going to go meet up with these people? I could have swore I was like just hanging out with them. We were just in class with them like not too long ago. So it was a weird feeling for sure. How was it, by the way? I saw a couple pictures. It was a smattering of photos, but I didn't really know what was going on over there.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was good to see folks. Like you talk about core memory unlocked. You think about, oh, we see these people all the time in social media and things like that. But then like I would bump into somebody. I'm like, I legitimately you have not crossed my brain
Yeah.
in a decade, and it's so crazy to see you. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah. I could see the idea of like seeing people so much everywhere. It does feel like I feel like time has like shortened for us even more than like our parents and stuff. They say, oh, as time goes on, it gets time goes faster. I think that's going to be accelerated for us because we
Yeah.
see so much of the
No,
day-to-day lives of everybody.
for sure. And I don't. It seems unfair to say like, oh, I don't want to see them because I feel like I'm. It's not how I feel. Like obviously I would like
Yeah.
to go see them, but it just I will say the drive to do it was lessened. I feel like
Oh
social
yeah.
media, it's really weird. Like I doubt there's kids that have graduated 10 years ago, which is crazy that they weren't even remotely close to being in high school when we were. So it's like every time I see somebody that was like born in the mid 2000s and they're like an adult out here, I'm like, what is going on here? This is weird.
Yeah.
I know we're like those old people. I'm already that guy.
It's happened. I
It's
saw somebody on Facebook, somebody from like high school that posted a album of their children, and they said like, "Oh, hey, it's the class of 2038 or something," and I'm like, "What?
what?
Like,
We're keeping
what
tabs
is that?
on that?
I mean, and with our high school, like what we went to, like the buildings we went to high school in, they're not there anymore. Like
You
it's
mean the
like
portables?
yeah,
Portables, bro. We were
exactly.
living in those things. Those are crazy.
That was the craziest thing when I went back there. I did go to the
Oh,
campus, and legitimately it was like I remember taking it on social media. I took a picture of the football field from back across like the practice field. And it
hmm
was the only shot that I could think of or see in the whole campus that looked exactly the same as it was when we went to school.
yeah.
Everything else is different.
I feel like it wasn't that much longer after we left where they were like, they finally got it together, right? They're like,
Yeah.
oh man, they built it up and it honestly is beautiful. Shout out to Lemon Bay High School. It's actually good job. I wish you could have done it a little bit sooner, but hey, listen,
Yeah.
we
Like a
we
year
got our
or two,
education,
right?
right? Yeah, it was
Yeah,
literally like a
exactly.
year after. I was like, oh, okay, this is how you guys do it. Fantastic. I do want to mention one thing, and it was impactful to me. And when you posted about it, I was like, I read your post on Mr. Thomas passing away. And I
Oh,
swear to
yeah.
God, like that, like resonated with me, dude. Mr. Thomas was one of the coolest people ever. Mr. Thomas
Mhm.
was one of the most impactful because for everything you said in that post, it first off beautifully written. I loved
Yeah.
every second of it,
Thank you.
and just that was how I found out your post. I mean, I was like, damn, dude, all those feelings that you wrote in that, I was like, this is. I feel like a lot of people felt that way about him.
Yeah, he was a special man. Like just like a guy like because you'd have like teachers that would be like, "Hey, I'm cool. I'm one of the cool like I'm part of like," and he did that but without like doing it, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. Like he just simply was somebody who literally cared about his students. He was incredibly intelligent, and like yeah, just the things that you would learn, and the relationships would be genuine, and it's you don't I think in a way we were lucky. Like there was probably a good like maybe more so than other schools, a lot of those types of teachers at Lemon Bay, but he's definitely stood out as just like he would never treat you as a child. He treats you as an adult coming into your own. Like and I think that especially at that senior year level of high school, that's really important to have those types of educators.
yeah, and I remember graduating. I took a year off before I wound up going to college at SCF, the local spot. Everyone was well,
Yeah.
it was Manatee Community at the time, but it was SCF. But I remember I was working at Publix, which was like a rite of passage. I feel like for about 90% of the people in that town, you have to work there. So I worked there, and I remember seeing Mr. Thomas pop in every once in a while. And every time I saw him, I was like, dude, this guy's awesome. And he was still just like he's joking, he's playing around.
Same
He's always
exact
it's
guy. Yep.
yeah. And I was like, dude, this is so great. I wish I could see him more. It was awesome just to see him outside of school. I know there's always jokes of teachers seeing their students outside of school, but I feel like he actually enjoyed it. Especially in high school, it's probably a little easier, as opposed to being
Yeah.
like an elementary school student where you're like, oh crap, little Susie's gonna see me buying groceries.
Exactly right.
But yeah, it was cool to see him out in the real world. And yeah, like you said, he was very impactful on just my career. I guess is it a high school career? Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, I mean
I don't
it
know. Yeah.
is. You,
Education.
so many people, despite where they go to actual college or what they pursue right after school, I would venture a guess that a lot of people end up at what they were trying to do when they were in high school anyway. So, I think that again, having the right educators in the right time can really help facilitate that, so you don't waste all that time trying to pursue, what maybe the world tells you should, when in reality you kind of had it down pat from the jump, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do want to say, I brought you on this podcast. I reached out to you, and like you said, it's been a long time. We haven't actually spoken. We've just had some social media interaction. But the reason why is because I still am friends with a lot of people from high school. But I see what you're doing. I mean, I interact with a lot of your stuff. We kind of like a lot of the same stuff. So I see what you're doing. I chime in every once in a while. But I've always kind of followed you and been like, yeah, this guy's still awesome. Like, he's still cool. We were always cool in high school. And I was like, it's easy to grow apart from those people when there's nothing really in common. But when I see you posting about things that I like, I'm like, all right, he's still cool. That's why I'm reaching out to you now. And I wanted to talk to you and just see what was going on, how you were doing. When I see you were doing improv, that's something that I've always thought about doing. I've always been interested in, because I've always just kind of been, I like just throwing yourself out in the fire. I like a little chaos and just trying to figure it out. I'm a big fan of that, but I've never actually made the jump to do it. Can you kind of tell me how you got into it and what's been going on there?
Yeah. So, it was, I think, like 2017, I want to say, don't quote me, but like around there, I was kind of actually going through just kind of like a down time, and I was not finding really passion or like enjoyment in a lot of things. And I had made a like distinct decision that I was like, I want to like make a list of things that I want to try and do to like find this thing that's missing in my life. And I ended up taking classes at SAC Comedy Lab, which is here in Orlando. Very, very, very good improv theater. Wayne Brady, Paul Appel, some of these folks came out of it. And I started not only taking classes there, but volunteering, because they had this awesome program where you're able to like volunteer and be like front of house staff for the shows. And they would give you credits to then use towards classes. Sweet. So it was great. And it was such a game changer for me in my life. Like in such a real way, because, the way I always try to explain like what like improv is, everybody knows, like they watch Whose Line Is It Anyway? And they watch all these different things. But really what it is like, if you can imagine, whether it's like you're driving the car with your wife, or you're hanging out with like your best friends, or you're around these people that you have zero fear, zero anxiety, zero like thinking to impress or anything like that. And then these organic kind of hilarious moments just come out of it. Like that's what improv is. That's the golden egg of it all. And it's just such a really like fulfilling and rewarding thing when you kind of find it. And it's a very positive community. Everybody's trying to support each other. It's all based off the idea of like having each other's backs and things like that. And yeah, so I took classes, started doing kind of like odds and ends, old like weird shows, performed in all these different weird places. I've performed in festivals like in Baltimore and Miami, and doing shows for conventions, MegaCon, which was one of the weird through the last 10 years times we've bumped into each other on escalators going opposite directions in MegaCon. But like, so just, it's opened up so many opportunities and friendships, and just, it's really, really fun. I recommend it for anybody. Like, you don't have to want to go on stage and perform to do improv. It helps with public speaking and anxiety. And it's a really great art form. And I have a lot of love for it, and I owe a lot to it.
That's awesome, because I hear the same thing from just about everybody that I've talked to who has done it. Is like, it's just something you should do. Like, even if you're like an accountant, this never has, you know what I mean? It's just something you should do to just get out of your shell and like really just be comfortable just talking and interacting, and just, it's like a good tool. I've always felt like I would be, I don't say good at it, but I'd have a lot of fun with it. I think I would have a lot of fun with it, but I don't know. Sure. I haven't actually like taken the jump and like jumped into that. I've been doing a lot of other weird side projects and stuff. As of late, pickleball. I've been kind of really diving into pickleball. That's crazy, but
see, disc golf has been my new. That's like, I've been getting into that. Yeah, I actually just played yesterday morning with some buddies, and lost my first disc. Sent it into the lake. It's gone.
Sorry for your loss. Yeah, sorry, bro. I know. So I haven't lost one yet, but I also haven't played enough to have it really impact or do anything. But let's talk about the MegaCon. Like you said, you're doing things at MegaCon. That's awesome, because I mean, I'm a big fan. I've been a few times myself. Any kind of Comic-Con nowadays, it's cool to be a nerd now. I feel like back in the day, it was like loser. Right. Now it's like show up at a MegaCon, you're like the coolest kid. There's like so many cool things to do there. What is it? Is it Improv Vengers? Is that what it is?
Yes. Our name is the Improvengers, and yeah, we are just a group of friends. My friend Caitlin founded the group. She's still run the show. She's the host, and just we get a group together of local improvisers, and it's honestly from an improv performance perspective, the highlight of the year. Really, they're huge crowds for the shows. Such a very friendly audience. Everyone's just there to have a good time because they're there for MegaCon, and yeah, we just do kind of a typical short form show like you would see on like a Who's Line, but like with more comic influenced stuff.
Yeah, I kind of figured it'd be a little skewed that way. Do a lot of like getting obviously setting up with the crowd and trying to get everybody. I'm sure everybody's probably like their favorite anime or their favorite superhero. They want to get that involved somehow. But I'd imagine those are pretty fun shows.
Yeah, exactly. We like an example would be so there's a game that you play in improv called Lines from the Floor where you get like, hey, let me get a song lyric, and you write it down, and then during the scene the improviser will pick up the line, and that'll be the line of dialogue they use and they have to justify it without context. Well, we do the same thing, but we get a comic book from somebody in the crowd, and we just read random lines of the comic book and have to justify it. So little twists like that like bring kind of like a little more homegrown to the show that makes it feel a little bit more for the people that are there. And yeah, it's always a blast. I love doing it. It's my favorite thing to do of the year from a performing standpoint.
Yeah, I'd say I don't want to throw my wife under the bus because I'm not going to. But the talks of improv, at least early on a few years ago, she just like gets anxiety anyway, but she gets proximity anxiety just because somebody else is doing something. She feels that right away. So she's like that. I don't know if she's the fan of it, but she does like it. Like we watched Middleditch and Schwartz.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. It's cool when they do it. But if I said I went out and I wanted to go out and do improv, she'd be like, ooh, I don't know. Not that I couldn't do it. It's just literally like she just, because she knows me. It's like, that's weird. I don't know. It's like a weird little gray area. I don't know do you experience that when people are doing it for the first time, if they're a little sheepish or they know that somebody else might be a little weirded out by it?
I think honestly, kind of the beauty of it is that's the thing you're trying to eliminate when you perform improv is like, because the thing that as an improviser will hold you back is having that like, oh, I'm going to look silly, or this isn't going to fall. And the whole point and the whole essence of it is like, you go out there with zero worry that you could completely fail and fall on your face. I've gone out there and done scenes where like the game is rules XYZ and I completely forget about it, and like the whole point is just to have fun and to get out of your head. So like yes, I could say that there's definitely been times where like viewing it you kind of feel that like that, for lack of a better term, secondhand embarrassment type thing. That's of like but like that's the whole thing you're trying to fight against. So as you do it more and you become more seasoned as an improviser, not only does that like go away, but then like when you sense it in others, like for me as a performer, I love to lean into it and make things, even more like my favorite shows are shows that are chaotic and go off the rails. So but again, that's another thing great in life. It's like how many things hold you back because you're afraid, that you're going to not look great, or you're going to be embarrassed, or that someone's going to think you look silly. And like to get that away from your brain as much as possible really unlocks a lot of potential, I think, too.
No, I absolutely agree. And that's like, the chaos word is like my motto, man. I like to, anytime I can instill it, if I see something break somewhere, I'm like, let's lean into that. Or if I see somebody cringe a little bit, I'm like, I'm going to keep poking at that bear. Like that's exciting. And I feel like as a crowd, that's what you want to see. You want to see somebody get to a point of just like either breaking or they come out of their shell. Like you want to see that turn at some point, whether it goes either way. It's kind of the way to, the way you kind of weigh it out. That would be pretty exciting. So yeah, you got me hyped up. Maybe eventually I'll get out there and do it. I don't know where. We just moved. I don't know where. I'm trying to get the lay of the land over here. We're in Wilmington now in North Carolina, so I'm sure there's something going on over here.
Oh yeah,
right?
There's improv everywhere. Because that's the thing. That's like, and for lack of a better term, is like that's what I like about how like kind of punk rock improv can be. Is you can do it. The first show that I ever was a part of, actually like creating and running, we did it in a motorcycle club's garage. and like the things that they would prop the motorcycles up on were our benches, and we did just like, and it was awesome. It was so much fun. It's so, you don't need anything but people in an open space to do improv. So I'm sure you won't have to look too far to figure out if you want to go take a class or something.
No, absolutely. And I will say one of the biggest inspirations for me is Conan O'Brien. I freaking love that guy. And what's crazy is I don't even know if I've ever sat down when he had his show. I don't know if I'd ever sat down and actually watched it. It wasn't until the podcast came out that I was like, hey man, this guy's kind of hilarious. And like he's like my spirit animal. Like I strive to be that weird, right? He just like goes off the rails and he commits, and I love that. That's hilarious to me.
Yeah, I don't know if you've I don't know when this will come out, so how long ago it'll be from when people hear this, but like, have you seen his Hot Ones interview?
Bro, I watched it immediately. I was like, are you kidding me? Conan O'Brien's on this thing? Yeah, he talk about committing. This man destroyed his intestines and bowels for comedy, and I respect it.
And just think about like, oh, what if he was afraid he was going to look silly? Like, it's just like there's no, you can't have that and be how funny he is. It's awesome.
I actually I think they just released, again, like, I don't know, like, who knows when this is going to get posted. I mean, I probably said on this could be 2028, who knows. But I just saw a video that he was kind of explaining the aftermath. And again, it took him about 5 minutes of improv and just ad-libbing, just talking about nothing and like flame throwing torches out of his butt cheeks. And then at the end, he was like finally admitted like, okay, yeah, here's what happened. And I waited for it too, because you have to. It's like, you can't fast forward, man. You got to sit through all of it. But
I think I just watched that too. Yeah. The worst X-Men ever. Yeah, I remember.
I was like, this guy. So I don't listen to a whole lot of podcasts. For somebody who does a whole bunch of podcasts, I would say that is one I go out of my way to listen to every time. I mean, it could be a guest I have absolutely zero interest in, but just for the sake of him and the way he carries an interview and a conversation and just plays with it, I think that's like, I respect that so much. And that's, that's part of the reason why I'm interested in improv and why I'm even doing this podcast, is because I just want to talk to people and just have fun with them. So I think that's I guess Conan O'Brien, if you're listening, if you're listening, I'll say I'm your biggest fan, and I'm not even that big of a fan. So that speaks to speaks to you. That's what I would say if I saw him in person, and then I would immediately retract it and say, please God, you're the best. But I feel like you got to kind of rib on him a little bit if you see him.
Yeah, I mean, it would be if Conan O'Brien's listening to the podcast, then that's a win. That's a fantastic start.
Listen, we'll try. Listen, I'm gonna take that clip. I'll throw it to him. All right, we'll see. Well, I'm sure no one else is doing that, right? I'm sure he's not getting any other clips from any other.
You're outside of the box. You got this.
This is a unique thought. All right, let's move on. I want to talk. So you mentioned you got married. That just happened, right? That was like this year, right?
Yeah, January. Yep.
Mm-hmm. First off, congratulations, and second off, how's it going, man? How's it going? I know it's a little early, but I mean, it's got to be great, right?
So I mean, I tell people we were an old married couple before we got married.
There you go.
We hang out with each other, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, again, a hilarious thing. Another Lemon Bay High School graduate. Yeah, same class as us. So we were friends obviously through high school. Mm-hmm. Went our separate ways, did our separate things, and then she came to Orlando in like end of 2019, right before COVID and the world ended, and started dating and never looked back.
It's COVID, man. I could talk to anybody about this. I don't want to talk about it too much, but I feel like that's such a blip in time where like years went by and it felt like a couple months, and then like you come out of the other side of it and you're like, what the hell just happened? Like it was so what did that look like for you? Obviously, lockdown, everything that happened. I'll explain mine, and it's a real quick one. I got laid off at the beginning of 2020, like January. So like it was like a couple weeks. The week after, my wife found out she was pregnant. So after I got laid off, she found out she was pregnant. I got a decent little severance, so I got to hang. But my severance took me right into COVID, and then I just stayed at home dad life for like 2 years. So I mean, that's how mine went.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. I mean, that's it's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of positives.
Yeah. No, listen, it worked out great. I guess if there was ever going to be a time to have a kid, right, it would be like right whenever everybody stays at home, right?
Yeah. So actually, COVID was kind of a weird thing for me in a couple ways. So I was actually away on a work trip in Vegas for about 3 weeks when the world, like I remember distinctly, like in the office, and like I got the news alert that like, hey, Disney and Universal Studios are closing because of COVID.
And they like shut down the NBA, right? And you're like, wait, this is serious. Like, what is happening?
Yeah. And well, for me, like, you know, living in Central Florida, when Disney and Universal shut down, that is like, you know, the Pope smoke. It's like, okay, something major is happening. So, so that happened. And then, you know, still trying to navigate from like an improv perspective. Like, if you want to talk about those shows that kind of like, you know, make you go like, you know, shift in your seats, is everyone tried to do what everyone else did in the world, is we did improv shows via Zoom, and it was little windows. And so, you know, it was definitely like a growing period, but I think kind of the cool thing about, you know, I don't want to say cool thing, but kind of like the silver lining of things that come out of COVID is like these new like pathways forward. And one of the things that was kind of spawned from that was a show where it was a bunch of improvisers would always do. A buddy of mine, Danny, was the host, and he would dress up as a ghoul essentially, and he would host it, and it would be Ultimate Werewolf, the game, but we were all characters.
Oh, nice.
And it was some of the most fun I ever had doing improv, because it was just completely unhinged, and I could be the most ridiculous characters. And so, yeah, like, again, like, the cool thing I think about whenever we as just society is kind of pushed in these weird ways is like unexpected things that would never happen unless that exact weird circumstance came to be kind of are created. So, but yeah, it was, you know, it's being somebody who is obviously so kind of out there and likes to talk to people. I'm sure you can, like, you know, relate to it. It was a lot to be just stuck in the same place. I was living with my best friend at the time, and, you know, in a like 900 square foot apartment, so it was not a lot of wiggle room.
No, for sure. And we joked about it before this, is during COVID, I feel like everybody kind of jumped on the streaming train for just a little bit. You know, everybody, we got to do something. I want to produce some content, put it out there, you know, just have some fun, play some games. I might as well record it. Webcam sales were off the charts during COVID, obviously, because everybody was shifting to remote work anyway. But one thing I did was like, I was just coming up with dumb ideas for podcasts. I was like, I got a lot of time. I have equipment. I have like a full home studio. Let me just start doing stuff. And we wound up doing like this weekly Drafters Live thing where we would do like 3 topics, and we'd literally just come and like do a debate where we'd be like, we do like a fantasy style draft over like animals or like TV shows, or like, and it'd just be chaos there. And that was kind of fun. And I keep getting texts every once in a while. Like I'll get like every few months I'll get a text, be like, when you gonna do that again, man? I want to do that again. That was fun. Like I had a lot of fun doing it. And honestly, I probably could. It's not really labor intensive. But I mean, I can only stretch myself so far on these crazy ideas. And this is one of them. So maybe, listen, if I bring the drafters back, I'm gonna put you in the chamber, man. I'll bring you on.
For sure. I'm in. It's actually really funny. A friend of mine and his brother did a kind of similar thing, but they focused on bands and like their songs and like their favorite songs. And they did Blink-182, and I can't remember exactly if he joined or if he just like recognized it. I believe he joined. Mark Hoppus actually joined their stream and like did the whole thing with them just because they tweeted him. They just, you know, again, because one of those things when like COVID's happening.
What the hell else are you doing?
You know, like no one's doing anything really. So it's, but I would 100% be down to do any type of draft or anything like that really. Because that sounds so much fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. And they got weird, man. We were doing like GIFs or however you say it, GIFs. I don't want to don't crucify me. It can go either way. We were doing emojis. We were literally just doing anything. We were struggling at a certain point to figure out topics because we were like every week we were doing 3. We probably did too many, but I do get the urge to bring that back because it was just genuine fun, and you could bring on anybody and just do a fantasy football draft. Those are always fun anyway. But with stupid things like that, that's always a good time. So I saw a post on your Facebook page. You mentioned 10 years at your current job, and I don't know if you want to talk about your job or I can say it out loud. I just think 10 years at a job at our age is impressive work. I got to say I'm proud of you. That's pretty good stuff. As somebody who's currently just kind of floating around and doing like things here and there with like random startups, I respect the old sticking at one place.
Yeah, I mean, we can leave it up to the. I mean, anybody that is in that area will know. It's like a law firm, But like, I do marketing for a law firm, but I didn't start in marketing. I started taking calls and just kind of worked my way up over the last like decade. And yeah, I went to fire school and EMT school right out of high school.
Mhm.
And that really didn't pan out. And then I just started doing like, I moved to Orlando, started doing kind of odd jobs, and just started where I'm at now in 2014. And yeah, it's something I'm legitimately like, I'm very much kind of the person that's like, oh yeah, whatever on a lot of my accomplishments really. But
Yeah.
like, it's one I'm very proud of because, I didn't have the education to be where I'm at. I didn't have those types of things. It's all just like putting in learning and hard work. And I'm lucky that I'm at a place where that's rewarded. They will go to the person who they can trust and they can see is a hard worker and they can, knows the business versus, trying to hire somebody who just has a lot of, a very extensive LinkedIn resume. And, I
Right.
think those are coming, those places are fewer and far between now. And so I'm very lucky. I love it. I love the work I do. I love the people I work with. I mean, like we just had an event where we do a family fun day where we get a bunch of inflatable, like the bounce houses and the obstacle courses and all that. And we put them all in the parking lot. We do pizza and hot dogs and a lot of the people that I've been working with for a decade, like that were, our age, they're, we're all sitting around and there's kids and strollers and, my wife's with me, and like it's just crazy to think like, when we all started here, we were all kids, and you just it's you're very lucky to find a place where you can spend that much time in a career, but then to have also so many other people with you that have been there that amount of time is even rarer. And it's a testament to, I think, at the end of the day, the place and the work you're doing and how rewarding it can be.
Yeah, I respect the hell out of it. I mean, I worked for iHeart when I got it. I was working in radio. I was there for about 8 or 9 years. But unfortunately there was mass layoffs. Ever like thousands of people got laid off at that one time. And I was like, this sucks. Cause that was me. I was like, dude, I'm a team player. I was getting criminally underpaid, but I love what I did. And I was like, I'll keep doing this till I can't anymore, man. This is awesome.
Yeah.
It was a good time. But yeah, I now I'm kind of, especially because we had a kid during COVID, and COVID was kind of a stretch. Everything's kind of shifted for us. Stay at home. Like we have a 3.5-year-old now. Not once have we paid for daycare or a babysitter. We probably should get a babysitter and go out more, but
Yeah.
we just ride or die wherever with the kid. We're like, we're out of here. But I mean, I'm happy that I'm able to do that. I've been able to stay at home and work and make it by on what we have. I mean, like that I wouldn't trade that for anything, but I do miss a career arc or a trajectory, I should say. Because right now I'm shooting shots all over the place. I'm doing all kinds of stuff, and I love doing it. I love creating. I'd say I'm a startup's favorite kind of person because I can cover. I'm like a salve that just covers all the bases of marketing and digital media. But I don't ever really see a career path. You know what I mean? And I do miss that. So I respect the fact that you're locked in, and I'm happy for you, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, honestly, I think that perspective and where you're at right now, like, is probably one of the stronger places to be, just with so much of like talking about technology, talking about the world of like, there's so different ways the next decade could go, and to just kind of be a jack of all trades makes you versatile to kind of hit wherever you need to be. Because I think it's, there's definitely pros and cons to both of it, but yeah, it is I'm lucky. I appreciate it.
For sure. Absolutely. Okay, a couple more things before we get out of here. I'll let you go. It's getting kind of late. It's past my bedtime. I want to talk about the Tennessee Titans. I know you were the Tennessee Titans guy, man. And in high school, you're always wearing the jerseys. You always repped it, and I respected it because they weren't always the best team. There was a moment.
You are the best team.
I know, and I don't want to speak to it now, but I want to know where you're at. You just lost Derrick Henry. I know it's a weird period for you guys, and I want to know where you're feeling right now with the Tennessee Titans.
I'm feeling the same way every fan of every NFL team is feeling 5 days after the draft. I'm feeling that, like, we're gonna win the Super Bowl. I mean, like, we did lose Henry, but he's obviously kind of on the tail end of I think his career. He's still gonna be an absolute beast in Baltimore. But we got Tony Pollard, and I think that he's solid. I have a lot of expectations for Will Levis. We got Calvin Ridley. So I think we're in a good spot. I personally was not the biggest fan of getting rid of Vrabel, but I also understand that his play calling in the last like year was a little suspect. Maybe we're relying on the glory days of Derek a little bit too much. But yeah, I mean, I'm a Titans fan through and through. It's gonna be. It's going to be. I mean, we could go 4 and whatever 13 now, is it? Whatever the new schedule is, and right. It wouldn't bother me. I've been there before.
Yeah, I love that post-draft feeling where everybody's like, "Dude, why not us?
Oh,
it could
yeah,
be us.
Exactly.
It could be us." And there's no reason why it couldn't be.
Yeah, even with the Falcons drafting.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't. That's a different conversation. I'd like to get a Falcons fan on to just know what was going through their head when that was going on. But as a Packers fan, we struggled last year, man. There was like 3 or 4 weeks where I thought we didn't have a franchise quarterback. That was scary.
Ooh.
For the first time in my entire life. I was like, wait, what is this? Instability. I don't ever want to do that again.
It's so funny that you say that because like I just sat here and roasted about the idea of them drafting Penix and I mean, now Love looks like the pick of the draft back then when everyone was losing their mind because they got him then. So yeah, the Packers, the Packers look good this year. I mean, I feel like that they're in a good position.
They're super young, fun. It's fun to have no expectations. But now we'll come into this season, I'm sure, with a little more, and it'll all be. I mean, if we don't make it to Super Bowl, obviously I'm upset and sad. But playoffs, knocking the Cowboys out of the playoffs, that was almost a Super Bowl for me. I was excited about that. That made me feel good. All right, last thing on the way out. This is what I ask everybody. Just I'd like to get a vibe. The name of this show is Underrated. If you're listening to it and you're this far in and you didn't know that, the show's underrated. So just so you know, I want to know from you, who's somebody. It could be in your life. It could be the last person I talked to said Tony Romo. Come on, what is going on there? It could be anybody. Who do you think's underrated? And give him a little shout out here.
Okay, well, I'll have 2 because now, like, when thinking about it in my life, it's obviously my wife because
that's the obligatory. Yeah, I guess I should preface it. Yeah,
exactly.
The wife, obviously,
she's the most underrated. But actually, staying with the Titans, I will say somebody who I think is incredibly underrated is former linebacker of the Titans, Keith Bullock.
Okay.
He like his not only just like his time in Tennessee, he's just a phenomenal linebacker. Got a chance to meet him when I was younger at the NFL Experience back when we had that awesome run of Super Bowls. It was just like between Tampa and Miami every other year. Loved him. And then, so he played, I think he played for the Titans for 10 years, Pro Bowls, all the stats. I think he leads still the Titans in the most interceptions from a linebacker in a year. Just an absolute beast. And then when he retired, he played for the Giants for I think a year or 2, and then he retired. And then he went with Jared Allen and took up curling.
Oh,
and
hey.
They legitimately competed in tournaments and tried to make the Olympics representing the United States in curling. I don't think they did very well. Yeah, but look at Jared Allen, Keith Bullock, and I think a couple other former NFL players competed in curling professionally. And it's just to be able to be all right, I'm done. I'm retiring now from this sport I've given my entire life to, and I played at the highest level. And now I'm just gonna in my retirement just go to a less taxing same thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, and obviously elite athleticism. I mean, I would imagine pays off in curling, right? I mean, you got to scrub the hell out of that ice. I don't know.
Yeah, it really was pickleball before pickleball became a thing. It's just all these people now are just okay, let's go to this other sport though. Pickleball, obviously, a much higher degree of difficulty.
That's next level stuff. I mean, come on, man. That's an elite athleticism and precision. And I only say that because I'm getting into it now. So I was into it a little bit before, about 5 years ago, before COVID and before we wound up moving. Because in Florida, it started growing in Florida. Naples is the mecca, I think, of pickleball.
Pickleball, really?
Yeah. Dude, that's where they hold the Super Bowl down there. There's a 200. I don't even, maybe 200 might be exaggerating, but a court complex down there where they do the nationals and all that fun stuff. I'm crazy deep in it. My YouTube algorithm is embarrassing with the pickleball, and I'm proud of it, man. I'm trying to figure this out. I got a couple paddles. I'm really getting into it because where we moved, we're a quarter mile from this pickleball complex that has 6 courts. I'm a member there now. I'm playing with these people I'm just playing with so many different people. It's cool to just meet, and they're all these aggressive older people that are ready to cut your throat.
Oh, yeah.
They'll murder you if you don't keep up. And I'm trying. I mean, I'm drowning right now, but I'm trying to keep up with them. It's insane.
See, I would think North Carolina would be a prime pickleball mecca. That's where if someone had to tell me pick the state that's got the mecca, I would think the Carolinas or something like that.
Listen, I'm working here, bro. I'm gonna get it there. All right, I'm trying to work the game up here on the coast. It's like I will say, Wilmington. The reason why we wanted to move up here is because we grew up in Florida. You know, obviously you're still there, but that's where we went to school. And my wife and I met there in Fort Myers. We love Florida. It's just so damn hot, bro. It's like
so bad.
So we wound up getting it. My wife got an opportunity up here in North Carolina, and when we came over to visit Wilmington, it's like a utopia over here. It is. It feels like Florida. Like the vibe, everything's kind of spread out. It's got a little town. Like it feels like Florida. There's a beach. There's a few beaches. They're beautiful. But the weather is amazing. It's like how is this even possible? I didn't think it was even possible. It's crazy.
That's a big thing for me too. Is I can't stand, like, we're coming into it now, the summer months. I mean, I think like next week it's going to be like starting to get into the 90s, the high and stuff. And like even like I said, we went out and did disc golf, and like it was like by the end of it, we went at 10. I think we teed off at 10:30, and it was like 12:30 we wrap up, and we're just like, oh, it's so hot. It hadn't even reached the hottest part of the day.
Yeah, that's so gross. Yeah, I don't miss that. I miss the people there. Like every time I go back, I still have my parents are still down there. I still have family in Florida, and obviously a lot of friends. But when I go back there, I'm like, I do miss just like hanging out and like the spots. You know what I mean? Where you just hang out with your friends, and you got I do miss that. I wish I could scoop everybody up and bring them up here. It's like, just come on.
Exactly. Like just start your own town.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I keep seeing videos about that where people are like, let's just buy 20 acres. And everybody we just all contribute and build a little pop-up tiny home. And I'm like, that's not a terrible idea. I don't hate it. Put a gate up. Isn't. You got your little empire. You know, stick your flag in the ground, and that's it. That'd be cool.
It's actually funny. I just thought about this. Is right before you reached out to me about doing the podcast, I actually saw that you had went on like a trip with a bunch of the guys from back in the day, like a bunch of the high school buddies and stuff like that. I was like, that's so cool. That's like, it's that same core group of friends. You guys are all still like, just meeting up, hanging out.
That was a bachelor party. We did that in Charleston, South Carolina, which I wouldn't have known. I didn't have known that to be a bachelor party spot, but I went there. Dude, there wasn't a lot of bachelor parties. There was easily like 15 to 20 bachelorette parties. I don't know what was going on. Everyone's going there. I don't know what's going on there. It was a pretty okay little downtown, but it was honestly pretty cramped, and parking was horrible. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is over there.
We did my bachelor party in Nashville, and it was it was quite the scene, because I mean it's like essentially they should just rename it to Bachelorette Bachelor Town.
I've done a bachelor party in Nashville. I've done one of those. I've literally done that too, and Nashville's crazy because I expected it to be bigger, like the downtown area. But you're standing at one end, you can see the other end. You're like, what is this? What is this crazy? But everything's stacked up. Dude, it was crazy. Going into a bar and like just seeing like every level is a different musician. I'm like, how is this even making sense sound-wise? Like, I'm just like, I like everybody to leave just so I could hear everybody playing music at the same time and see if there's like a blend at some point. It was weird how they're doing that.
The time we were out on Broadway, I had a T-shirt from a local restaurant here in Orlando. It's called Beefy King. And it's a roast beef sandwich. And then I had Stone Cold Steve Austin letter vest on.
Yeah, there you go.
Their bachelor party. And it was a blast. I mean, but like, Charleston, I know, is on it. Savannah, Georgia is another big one where it's like, I like that. A sleepy bachelorette place. But great. That's the thing. It's like right up and down the East Coast, there's so many beautiful little spots that, just you never really think about for those types of things. You think about the big ones, but they're great times. Obviously,
we've been conditioned. Bachelor parties, you got to go to Vegas, man. That's the spot. Right. Everybody goes to Vegas. It'd be cool to go to Vegas. I've never been myself, but I mean, like, I don't know if I don't want to live that. I don't want to live that hangover life. Like, you know what I mean? The Hangover movie. I don't know if that's scary, man. I don't want to wake up and be on a roof.
Exactly right. Well, that's like any place where you go down the street and there's like trucks that are like food trucks, but instead of like food, they're, hey, come jump in. We're gonna put an IV in you so you can keep on partying. Like, I don't know if
I'm good. No thanks.
Maybe in a past life, but I don't think anymore.
I'm gonna go to my slot machine and just sit there with the boys.
Right, exactly.
Just pissing money away in the penny machines. That'd be the way
go to the sports books with all the 100 TVs.
So that might be fun though. Just rapid fire, just throwing $1 or $2 over here on some stupid parlay which is now fun to do. I guess I can do that now in North Carolina. They'd opened that up here recently.
Just recently.
Literally like a month or two ago. It wasn't even that long ago. Like right after March Madness. I think it was, or was it right before? I'm not sure. It was right around that same time. It was weird coincidence.
It happened a little bit. It happened and then it stopped and it came back. And Hard Rock is the only one here that we can use. But it's nonstop. It's
dangerous.
Parlays.
It's crazy.
It's so much fun.
But I think I'm up right now, and I don't. Maybe I'm a psycho, but I'm probably just like I'm going crazy gambling. But I'm not doing a lot. Like I'm literally playing with like my initial $50 that I'm still playing with it. So I'm like, if I lose a little bit, I wait for like this freebie thing to come up, and I'll be like, I'll throw 5. I'm only trying to like nickel and dime my way back to the same. I'm just hovering around the same spot. So I feel like I'm winning, but it's a fun little way to watch a game. That's it.
Yeah, see, that's what you have to do. You have to play them because like you play and then you run out of money. Oh, okay, well I'm done then, and then you wait for them to send you that offer.
Yeah.
And then, I got him.
It's like, hey, we marked this guy down to like 0.5 points. Like LeBron's gonna score 1 point. It's gonna happen, right? So I'm gonna throw my way in here. Anyway, that's scary. I know a lot of people that I'm friends with that are like way too deep in that, and it's honestly it can absolutely destroy you if you're not responsible. But
you definitely have to be smart about it. Like not put. Yeah, it's very slippery slope, and I've seen the same thing. So hopefully they'll find a way to kind of get that.
It'll level itself out. They'll just ruin themselves, and then we're good to go. Everything's good. They're off the books. Everybody's good.
Got it.
Brian, it was awesome talking to you, man. I'll let you go, but I'll remember Keith Bullock as your underrated guy. And like I said, dude, we haven't talked in 15 years. I feel like you've always been somebody that I just feel like I could just pick up, and just talk to you at any time and just you'd be super chill about it. I think that's why I wanted to do this. That's why I reached out to you, and I'm happy I did. All right, we've been on this call for a little bit. I just want you to know I'm glad I did. I don't regret it in any way. So there you go.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. Let's not go 15 years again. And like I said.
No, we will. The follow-up to this podcast will be in 15 years. Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be 15 years.
Holograms at that point. We'll do.